Hello, and welcome back to Soulstar Radio. I'm pleased to bring you a happy birthday edition. We've been going for 3 years now on Soulstar Radio, and I'm joined by the fantastic and wonderful Raul Estevez, who is an author and also a psychic and a healer as well, and he shares a beautiful knowledge of the angels and also connecting with your psychic gifts. So he's on the air with me all the way from Ballarat in Crystal Blue Butterfly. Hello, Raul. How are you today?
Oh, hello. Thank you so much, Jacqueline, for having me on in such a special day and occasion. So here we are. Happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sending you a beautiful camellia from our garden. And this is the angelic flower of unconditional love. So quite fitting for the 3rd anniversary of Soulstar Radio.
Thank you so much, Raul. I have to blow some bubbles now.
Oh, yes, please. Many more.
Many more bubbles. So you've got this wonderful book out, which I've reviewed before, and it's The Angels, My Angels Connections, and I'm bringing it. There it is. And tell our listeners who haven't heard of that before a bit about the inspiration of that book.
Okay. My Angels Connection was actually written probably at the lowest point in my life, when I've actually needed to go deep within and find that inner light and let it break through. And I remember asking the angels, who am I to write the book? And Archangel Michael really came down nice and stern, saying, come on, Raul, even if it helps one person, it will be a job well done, so get on with it. And I did. And it was written outdoors in nature. I wrote it old-fashioned way in my beautiful journal first, and then it went electronically and so on. But it was born out of pure love. And I think that you can see that on the pages, because as you know, inside the pages are full of color and associated with that each message and each angel, and you feel the energy. And another thing that I was guided to do with that book was to create sections for people to write their own messages from the angels. So they get messages through their thoughts, intuitions, dreams, and it gives you an opportunity to do that within the book, so it becomes quite interactive. And it has been amazing, the response worldwide, and so many people have said to me, oh, Raul, it has become my bedside table companion, which is exactly what I intended the book to be, and I'm ever so grateful to everybody involved, including our publisher, Wildlife Publishing House, which I, as you know, extremely supportive of what we do.
Absolutely beautiful. So what do you think, for people who really want to write a book and they sort of keep putting it off, it really does come to that thing of just having to write it. And what sort of tips do you think can get them writing each day, for example?
Okay, somebody a long time ago told me, if you really would like to write a book, it only takes 1 page a day. So in 365 days, you will have a book, because you will have 365 pages. And it's a matter of simply allowing and not forcing yourself to say, well, I need to sit down and write because I want to write this book. Simply allow the story to flow and to feel like you have no other choice but to write it, because the messages are coming thick and fast. And one thing that it works for me really well is being amongst nature. I go outside in my back garden, and at the moment with the beautiful camellias that are in full bloom, and I just sit there and observe and let it flow, because you know what? It will flow. So long as you're not trying to say, well, I want to write a book because I want to be an author. That's perhaps the wrong attitude into writing. Write it because you cannot help it.
Absolutely beautiful, and thank you so much for that beautiful camellia as well there, Raoul. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm looking forward to catching up with you next week as well, because we'll be coming live from Crystal Blue Butterfly, so I'll be sitting next to you in there. So that'll be good.
Yeah, indeed. As we've done it before, really close to one another.
Absolutely. I'm
and
amazed.
Let's not forget my little one. This I love it dearly because it was written for my inner child. And I remember my late grandmother and my late mother, I will always talk to them about angels, but at that time, talking in society wasn't all that well seen. And I remember talking to my angels outdoors by myself, to my little angels, and I thought, I'm going to write it to the children, or to the inner child in me and to the children of the world. And we created this lovely book that you can go outdoors with a little handle, and you will find little angels like the gorgeous Archangel Michael there, with lovely little stories to inspire them to go outdoors, to leave perhaps the electronic devices inside and commune with Mother Nature and find the beauty that they can find within nature. And to top it all off, we did a little bonus at the end of the book where they can go and color them in, and through the perforated area here, they can remove the page safely and post it in the fridge for Mom and Dad.
I love it.
And it's a way of them really getting inspired and truly just leave electronic devices and let's go back to Mother Nature, grab the book by the handle, sit under a tree and enjoy life.
Absolutely gorgeous. Now, we've actually got a caller in. We've got Mindy in Pasco, Washington, USA. Are you there, Mindy?
I am. Hi.
Hello, and welcome to the show there, Mindy. If you want to have a reading with Raoul, introduce to Mindy.
Hi, Mindy. How are you?
Hi, I'm okay. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How may we help you today?
I've got a lot of issues going on right now, and I just kind of need some guidance, and I need to know like what I need to do, like with my daughter, my 12-year-old daughter, and my situation.
Okay, at the moment, what they're actually showing me is it will take a little time for all this to clear, and it's going to have to be done, Mindy, in layers. And I know that at times clearing layers, it can be a little bit painful, but it is actually necessary for you to gain much more, a wider view of what's actually taking place in your life. What the angels are showing me for you now is once you start removing the layers, they're giving me this amazing yes. That yes meaning things are going to clear up, and you're going to be able to put things in different boxes, in different slots. The situation with your daughter, if I didn't hear correctly, 12 years old, well, we're going into the teenage years, growing pains. Don't forget when you were a teenager and try and perhaps empathize with their situation, but also you are the parents, so you need to provide guidance. There need to be certain parameters, but things are going to start getting better for you. One thing that I will recommend you to do, and I was talking about the beautiful powers of flowers and at the moment camellias, the white rose, I mean, if you can actually get your hands on some white roses, and if they're from the garden, brilliant. If you buy them, it's okay. Just you select them. And then when you get home, put them in your environment, but as well on your bed. Leave the bed unmade for the day and just remove the petals and scatter those petals all over the bed. You will see that the white rose brings that energy of purification. It will lift up the energy of your bed that you no longer need. And as you know, we spend at least 6 hours on our beds. So it tends to absorb that energy, and what you need is to clear that out. And the more that you do that, the better you're going to have a very nice sleep, and your mind is going to become much more clear. They are showing me that as you're doing that, your dreams are going to become quite vivid. So have a notepad and pen next to your bed. When you wake up in the morning, ideas are going to start coming thick and fast on how to actually approach. But this beautiful energy coming your way, they will take a little bit of time of you working through the layers and releasing. It's not a simple task, and I've been there and I've done that, and I know that at times it's painful. But in order to get through to the other end, we need to go through that little tunnel at the moment, clearing things out and realizing that, the beautiful flowers will be there waiting for you. And stop, smell the roses, have a look at a flower and look at it and realize, oh my goodness, how beautiful. Because you know what, Mindy? That's the beauty that is within you. It's a true reflection of who you are. So sending you much love.
Okay. But so the things that I'm looking at are not accurate with my daughter?
Probably Jacquelene, go for it.
I feel what I would say there is that Raul's kind of outlining how to clear the energy of the situation. And what I really feel there with your daughter is that it's difficult to get the communication nice and clear at the moment, and we're really needing to kind of open the heart space more. I totally go along with the beautiful white rose energy to help lift some of this energy, but I was also getting a really strong emerald green flashing across in front of me while all of this was happening, while the reading was happening as well, and that was about opening up to the heart space. Open up your communication with each other to the heart space, because that's going to help you to actually really connect. And I do feel there's a lot of tears to be released here in that communication, and a lot more understanding.
With communication with who? I'm sorry, I didn't hear who you were telling me to communicate with.
With your daughter. That's where that's going to open up a lot more. By opening up on the heart space with her, you'll be able to communicate more clearly, and you'll be able to get a lot off your chests, both of you. What I would say as well is that sometimes our children will say things one way or react one way when actually they're feeling a completely different way. And so, you know, I think the thing is that sometimes particularly children can act in an angry way when actually they're deeply sad. Or they can act in a aggressive way when actually they're feeling insecure. So it's about being able to step aside from perhaps the outward behaviour that you're seeing and look into what's really going on, and, you know, where you're feeling she's really at, and being able to kind of reach her on that level. And it's really a time to try to release the judgment, I guess, as much as possible, because then when we come from a position of we can deal with anything in the place where we are, you know, by being open with each other, then that allows the healing to take place, and that allows a greater communication going through the rest of the teenage years to happen as well. So it's kind of really important in this case to be kind of open and okay with things, even if they're not okay, but to be okay to discuss things in a way that allows your child to feel safe to say what she needs to, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. So is it my fault what's going on with her? I mean, like, is it me, or is there something else going on there with the father?
Look, I feel that we've got quite a few different issues going on here at once, and sometimes the best thing you can do is get in the car together and go for a drive, because there's nothing like the confines of a car where a child cannot get away from you, for them to open up and start talking, particularly when they won't open up to you sitting next to them on the bed in their room. So it can just sometimes taking her out of the environment you're in and just having another space, whether it's out in a beautiful garden, whether it's driving out in a car, a long country drive perhaps, if that's possible. You know, anything like that is going to help her open up to you. And I would feel very strongly, I'm being urged very strongly, that she does need a counsellor that she can speak to who things are confidential with, so that she can say things and, you know, and get guidance from a professional who's not going to tell mum and dad absolutely everything that she said, but would certainly urge her to speak with her parents as appropriate, that is, particularly to you, in a way that she can open up safely and feel comfortable to speak what it is that she's got to say. So I do think that there's...
is her dad touching her inappropriate? I don't know what to do because I feel like that's what's happened.
That's exactly why you need a counsellor on this. That's exactly why you need a counsellor on this. That is why you need to create a safe environment here. And the thing will be that we have to be careful with this as well. Hopefully this is not too well identified. But it's going to be really important for you to take the appropriate measures to protect your child. But you have to come from the aspect at the moment of putting professionals around her so that you can create that safe environment for her to speak. And I think it would be inappropriate for me to comment on the more, I guess we'd call it legal side of this. You certainly do need to follow up, and whenever someone has a concern that might be going on, it's absolutely imperative to get the right guidance and advice from professionals in your area who are specifically...
In my area or out of this area? Because I've been trying to do that, and I feel like they are all advocating for him because he's got a person in the legal system that has got influence throughout the judge network here, throughout the complete legal system here, and I feel like he's going to end up getting away with what he's... I feel like something happened, and I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do.
That is exactly why I'd be going to professionals, though, and there would be counsellors who would be able to advise you about how to deal with the legal side of this, whether you need to go out of state or out of the area for that. And I can understand that certainly the legal system is not perfect, whether it's in the US or in Australia. But I would be taking the measures that you can within your power, and specifically going to, I would say, counsellors who are going to be more invested in making sure your daughter's safe, and particularly ones where the confidence of what she's saying in the appointments are actually going to be held confidential and not able to be subpoenaed. I really can't, as I said, go on to the legal side of things because I'm not a lawyer for one thing, and I'm not a US citizen, but I would really be seeking, crisis counsellors. I would also be maybe looking at whether there is a US hotline for potential abuse situations, and I would be careful about how you're dealing with this within the school network because of the ramifications you're talking about legally. And how that might interact, because what you don't want is to be put upon as being in some way meddling or in some way putting up a false accusation, and that can happen sometimes where there are real accusations, where there are real, warranted claims. Sometimes we do have to be careful, though, that it can't be put across the wrong way. So we're going to be sending a lot of healing and light to you and to your daughter through this situation, and you can certainly follow up with me behind the scenes. You can inbox me on social media or on the website to follow up further with things that I can't say on air. Because I do have to be sensitive to your situation, but also to the entire overarching situation that you're in here. So I'm having to think on that level ahead of time. So that's what I want you to kind of be is very careful about how you're reaching out, under what terms, what you are saying, and how you're putting things so that it can't come back on you, who is trying to protect your daughter. But as I said, it's very difficult when a child is also having to go between two parents, and they will do what they have to survive in both scenarios and situations.
Exactly.
So we have to be very
But
careful.
I need to know if it's something, because if there's something that she happened, my action, I already know where I need to correct my stuff. But at the same time, if it's me, I'm so willing to take care of my stuff. There's, and I tried to explain to her.
Absolutely, and it's just really, I would really hope that you are also seeking assistance because you're going to need supportive counselling yourself and possibly really good advice from professionals in the area, as to how to actually properly deal with this, given the legal framework that you're in, given the influence that you're talking about the other person having in that situation. And it's going to be really important to have all the right, really professional advice on this one. And that's why I'm having to be careful how we answer that today for you on air.
Okay.
All right, so you can connect behind the scenes. Do send a message through Facebook. Just look up Soul Star Radio and you'll be able to send a message to me from there and I can further see what else I can possibly...
Is that the email address that I've been communicating? Are you the one I've been communicating with then?
I haven't communicated with you up till now, so you can always...
So the one that Solomon is not you then?
Yeah, no, you've contacted through the station. So once again, I'll come back to you if you communicate to me off to the side there, and I can further go into that for you. So thank you so much for your call today. Well, that was that was quite a dramatic one there, Raul. How do you?
I'm always as well, and that's why my reading went into perhaps focusing on the energy, because I usually say to people regarding medical issues, psychological issues, legal issues, financial issues, the Creator, the angels have actually created earth angels. And those are people that are actually qualified to give you that sort of advice. And yes, I agree with you. There's energy that needs to be clear and open a heart connection in order to make the communication much more fluid and yes, from a place of the heart. And that's what I was shining the light of Archangel Michael's candle here, because he is the protector and the defender, and he will cut the cords to places, people, situations that we no longer need to be attached to. However, the advice that you gave was on point.
Yeah, beautiful. And is certainly, I hope she feels comfortable to reach out to us, and more than happy to send more prayers, but also practical referrals to people in their fields. That's the important thing. What sort of things do you find helpful to nurture the child, just quickly before we close there, Raul, when they're looking at whether they're developing spiritually or whether there's things going on between the parents?
One thing that I was actually thinking the same as you is bringing an outside influence that is totally unrelated to anybody, somebody that's going to be neutral. And nowadays, I'm not sure in the States, but because I used to be, in my previous life, I used to be a teacher. Now here in Australia, we have applications where the student can actually connect with the counselor at the school. And they don't need to go face to face. They just talk on that environment that teenagers and children are much more in tune with the technology, and they don't feel like they need to be face to face with a person that they don't know. They communicate on that application that the school will actually provide. So that's an important thing. And counselors are people that are highly trained to understand all the different issues and behaviors, and they can point as well parents in the right direction to be able to help the child at that point in need. One thing that I would say to anybody is listen, and listen with an open heart. Don't forget who you were. You were a teenager once. You were a child once. Remember what you went through, and you remember what you wish that you would have had if somebody was there to help you out. Sometimes, I'm sorry, I'm not a parent, so I cannot speak on those terms. But I think that sometimes we forget what we were like. And it's a matter of going back in time and realizing who you were and how can you utilize that knowledge in order to help somebody in need at a certain age. But yes, as you said, open your heart.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Raul, for joining me again on the show today, and I look forward to connecting with you next week. In the meantime, we're going to go out with Happy Birthday to You. So, Happy Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Soulstar Radio. Happy birthday to you.